Today we're going to revisit this theme about doing what you want to do the way you want to do it. We're going to attack it from the other angle because, believe it or not, there's actually a reason why quite often people find themselves doing stuff they don't actually want to do. And the way that they don't even want to do it. And partly this was surfaced from, there's a few different sort of mentoring circles, mastermind groups, we're going to call them. Groups like that I've either organized, participate in. And one of the people in it the other day mentioned, basically acknowledged, that there are some important things that he knows he should do, he means to be doing, he is not doing in favor of putting those off, essentially hiding from those by doing something else that's easier, that's not as scary, that's not as uncomfortable, that he's better at, that he already has momentum doing. And it keeps taking the place, filling that void of confronting this thing that he knows is more important. He knows is the doorway to the next step, but is putting off from a feeling of anxiety towards it. And again, the way that he's doing that is to do things that really he doesn't even want to do, that he knows are not in alignment with his longer term goals. That it's one of the same things that happens when we get ourselves real tied up in how busy we are with schoolwork, with work, with other obligations, any one of which everybody doing anything at all has other obligations, other work, other responsibilities, other stuff going on. But whether or not somebody uses the busyness of those as an excuse for why they can't fit in anything, and I'm not saying everybody's got all day, all hours, every hour. What I'm saying is the reason why some people use that to hide from doing things that they want to do, the way they want to do them, even if in smaller form. Right? I'm not saying that it's necessarily going to be like, I want to write poetry, therefore it's my full-time job. What I'm saying is that if you wanted to write poetry, you could find a way to do it. If you wanted to draw pictures, you can find a way to do it. You want to make games, you can find a way to do it. You want to make a podcast, you want to give talks, you want to write an ebook, you can do it. You can just do those things. Those are things now where the barriers to entry are virtually non-existent. To at least just doing it at a scale you can fit in around whatever else is going on. But part of what we hide from those things by getting tied up and feeling a sense of sort of pride or comfort in, well, I'm so busy doing these other things for other people, other things under other people's specifications, other things that aren't our thing our way, is it allows us to sit firm in our comfort that, well, I could do better if they just gave me a chance. If they just gave me the opportunity to call the shots, then it would be so much better. And deep down, often what's going on, we know that that's not true, or we're not ready to grasp how untrue that is. The moment we start actually trying to put ourselves in the driver's seat to begin making some calls about what's worth doing and how to do it. That when we start doing it, we realize either it's harder than we thought it was, it involves more uncertainty, more difficulty, more planning, more feedback, different types of skill challenges than the ones that we assumed. We get real uncomfortable real fast and we retreat to something else where we get to hold up the excuse of, well, whether or not this is the right thing to do, I'm just doing what I was told. That comfort of, it's not my fault if it's the wrong thing. This was my assignment. I have an assignment to do. And it's from the outside. So it's not on me to question, is this the right thing to do? Now, we question it anyway, and we certainly complain about it. But in a way that has never so much been the case as it is today. For so many people with the technology reach, with the platforms, with access to online infrastructure, which again, not to say everybody in the world, but obviously you, if you're here watching this. I was watching Stranger Things Season 3 the other day, and it's a character struggling to write for a newspaper. I don't think there's any spoilers if anybody's not yet made it through. It's a great show, by the way. But she's struggling because that newspaper and her opportunity of being trusted by the people in the newspaper, and of course it's an old-timey show in terms of its setting, was her only way to have a platform to tell a story. And if she couldn't get in with those people, then she couldn't get a chance to do that work, to write that story. And that is, for better and for worse, not the world we live in now. Now, you might need access to gatekeepers to get more eyeballs on it. You might need access to gatekeepers to build it into a business case, etc. But before any of those things happen, these days, it's because you're already doing it. And you've been doing it for a while. Putting yourself out there, practicing it, honing your skill, honing your craft, building up your own audience, finding your own approach. But that has to come from not putting the excuse on the outside world of, well, when they let me, When they assign me to do the thing that I want to do, when they tell me to do the thing that I want to do the way I want to do it, then I'll do it. That's never going to happen. Absolutely never going to happen. One of ours, a recent podcast guest, not Nathan Burble was most recent. Before that, I might have been Tom Astle. Wobble Dogs was pointing out that, like, he left the large company studio to work for his own thing. And again, this isn't all just about work stuff, but it's a concrete example. When he realized that that was never going to be an assignment that comes to him from the outside. No one's ever going to tell him, hey, you got to go do your thing now and stop doing our thing. And there's a big uncomfortable leap of faith there for anybody to navigate, even if it is while we keep the day job, even if it is while we maintain other paths in life, even if we do it in balance with other things to keep it sustainable. There is a hurdle we have to overcome to begin accepting the responsibility, the accountability, the sense that it's actually entirely possible that I can choose the wrong thing to do, regardless of how well I do it. And bridging that gap is part of the challenge of doing what we want to do the way we want to do it. Deciding we can no longer pass the buck and say, oh, my boss made a bad call, my teacher made a bad assignment, my parents didn't tell me the right thing to do. It's accepting the responsibility of, I'm a grown-up. I tell myself what to do. I decide what I'm doing in my life and with my time, with my energy. I decide what my passions are. And the work of untangling those begins by doing it and accepting the responsibility that comes from, it might be your call to make a bad call. And in fact, like a lot of things when you're new to it, it's going to probably involve a lot of bad calls and the way of making better calls. But that's the process forward. That's how we learn. We stumble our way through until we find our balance. But that's it for the day. So I want to encourage you, as always, to make sure you're finding some way to fit in doing things your way, the things you want to do in whatever scale, form, format, style they can fit in a way that's not putting undue burdens on your time, energy, other obligations. But that as part of that, we have to stop hiding from the responsibility for, well, I wrote a story, but what if it was the wrong story to tell? What if it was not the right thing to produce? We have to accept that burden as part of doing our thing our way and the growth that comes from it in a way we can't keep shoving off to blaming others for if we're doing the right or wrong thing, rather than just focusing on the kind of privileged position of, oh, I just want to do well what's been assigned to me. That's it for the day. I'll see y'all tomorrow.